Really thanking the fans coming out and checking us out. Really, it was a great day. Start in the morning with the Izzo Legacy run, a lot of buzz around campus and whatnot, and then getting around the fans to start before the showcase took off. And then I thought it looked like football out there. Those guys have been working and going, and so I really appreciate everyone coming out and enjoying it. Take some questions.
I can just ask you a few things. And Jonathan, obviously with Aiden, what you see from him today, and then Tommy as well, just those top two guys, but specifically Aiden being the guy that you expect to take the next step.
Yeah, I thought threw it accurately, moved his feet well. I think it helped that he got a little bit of run game going. Nate had a nice carry, and again, I think on both sides of it, we wanted to kind of base package, but not show too much, right? This is all over TV and whatnot. But he looked comfortable, and guys made some plays for him in the pass game, which was great to see.
You mentioned that about going base package. I guess what you were able to present out there from the defensive side, what were some of the encouraging things that you saw from those guys?
Yeah, I thought they played really hard. Again, limited amount what calls we had out there, and made it physical. We had some tackles in the backfield. The guys had the interception. Really defensively, again, just analyzing the game, penalties really hurt them on that, on moving the ball and things like that. But over 15 practices, I'm pleased at how this defense has come along, the way they run to the ball, make it physical. They've had plenty of live tackling that they were holding their own against the offense.
And I'm wondering, what you saw the receiver play, we've seen this spring. Obviously, Nick made a couple really nice plays today. Is that something you've seen all spring? And sort of where is he on his readiness as a true freshman? And then a guy like Montori seemed to have a good showing as well.
Yeah, both those guys really had a solid spring throughout. I think Nick has really come on the last half, I'd say, of practices, making some plays. You can tell he's getting more and more comfortable in the scheme, and he's gifted physically. Montori, feel awesome about his ability to be able to move in a couple of positions receiver-wise, and that gives us some answers. If multiple guys can play multiple spots, we think Montori is one of those guys.
Jonathan, we talked a lot about, or we heard a lot about Nate Carter, and we saw him on that second play or first play, whatever it was today. I guess what you see in him, and then Brandon Tullis is a guy we haven't heard a lot about, but he looked like he runs pretty hard.
Yeah, we think Nate is explosive and fits well in the scheme. He's had a good camp, a lot of carries, learning the thing, and he's effective in the pass game too, out of the backfield, and so that was nice to see. But Brandon, similar to Nick, early on, first few practices, getting his feet wet and a lot flying at him, but I think the back half of it, he got more and more comfortable, and he's good back, that makes it physical. Really, all those guys have had good carries, and so looking forward to now. It's a huge summer for us, I think, a whole as a team. Yeah, introduction, offense, defense, special teams through spring. Really liked the work we got done, but there's a ton of work moving forward here.
John, you say that, you mentioned that. Where did you feel like you guys made the most ground, or made the biggest strides, the two of these 15 in your first year?
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough question to really pinpoint a couple. I think we got some things established, all three phases, but even just how we practice, how we communicate. I think our growth defensively and communication from practice 1 to 15 is like night and day, because that's a huge part of it. That was an emphasis. Coach Ross has been hammering those guys. They've gotten better on that communication side. I thought our tackling, for the most part, when we tackled throughout the spring, was solid. You're always thinking about that, and we got some athletes out there that can make some plays.
I know it takes a little time as far as things go. We've had some injuries on the O-line, but those guys looked pretty cohesive today.
I will say, I thought it was probably their best day out of the 15, just looking at the offensive line and what we were able to do there. Protection was solid. It's not exactly the game, right? The quarterback's not getting hit, so defensively, rushing the passer, you're not quite going full go. But it was a solid day that way, and we still got a ways to go on that front. But I like the progress they're making.
Jonathan, with your defensive line, those Darius had a couple nice plays. You lose a defensive lineman in the portal who's an impact player here. I'm just wondering where that group is, what you feel about it right now, and if you need to add to it in the
Right.
summer months.
I think that group was solid. The guys that were going during the spring was a solid group. We feel like we got a few guys that can impact the game. Rosters are always going to be fluid, not just particularly with that position, and so we'll see how the dust settles here in a week and a half. We're always going to be looking to add quality people to our roster, really at all positions.
What are just the, like kind of piggybacking off of that, just the challenges of knowing that the roster is so fluid up until the first game of the season, and some of these guys that we saw today could very well not be here tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, it's, the landscape creates that, and so we're not the only ones kind of dealing with it. You just try to create an environment where these guys feel like an opportunity and they're got a chance to develop and grow. I think we've established that for about 4 months. I think we got a lot of guys that are feeling optimistic about the approach, but again, in this landscape, everybody's got their individual decisions, and vice versa. I look at it as way in the next few months we could add some really good players to the roster.
John, I'm wondering, early on, you mentioned a couple times like long way to go for a lot of positions. When you're early in a build, for you as a head coach, what are like the enjoyable parts that hopefully,
Yeah.
I'm sure in your mind, years from now, you're hopefully not in this space, but while you are, what are the parts that are enjoyable about this stage of a rebuild?
Yeah, I will say, I think that's why you coach is you enjoy of improvement and the process that takes. And so, yeah, we got a long way to go, and I enjoy, this coaching staff enjoys that process and improvement and development, especially working with a group. These guys like football. They like being around it, they like practicing, they like studying in it. And so, as a coach, you kind of enjoy that part.
Quindarius Duncan made a couple plays today. How's he done this spring, and what did you see from him this afternoon?
Yeah, he showed up this spring, battled through a little bit of injury early on, and so his rep count wasn't huge early on, but when he's in there, he's made some difference. He's slippery, he's physical, but he's slippery and plays with leverage all the time. That was a couple of huge plays today.
You guys using the helmet communication today, and if so, how'd that go?
Yeah, we've been using it all spring. I thought it was solid. We only got 3 of them, and so a little bit, a couple guys quarterback-wise didn't have it, but I think that's a good new role for college football, and to be able to communicate that way. And I don't think we had much mishap with it today.
When you look at the next steps from here, and I think we kind of touched on it this week, but what's the progress here for you, the staff, over the next few days as finals approach, and how do you kind of assess the rest of the portal at this point? You just kind of wait and see what the other guys.
Yep, next steps really this next week. Every player going to get with their position coach, kind of have a one-on-one meeting to recap the spring and see where that's at. And after they finish that, I'm trying to get one-on-one with the roster over the next week and really through the month with travel plans and, like you mentioned, finals. And really learn about kind of how they're experiencing things, how we can improve, where they're at with stuff. And so I think it's important to kind of go with 15 practices and then sit down, recap, and see where everybody's at and how we can take the next steps.
Anything else for Coach? One final one in front, Jim?
Comments about Tommy Schuster, the quarterback, and the big play he made beginning of the second half. What did you see there in Schuster?
Yep, Tommy, he's been this way a lot. He completes passes, man. You can see he plays with poise, decisive, recognizes coverage really well. He's got the deep ball to Nick down the middle of the field. You know, in live football, I think he's taken a pretty good hit on that from my vantage point behind him. But he's been solid all through camp, understands concepts, can be accurate with it. And he does. He plays with a ton of composure and competitiveness.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.